Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily, the first English news program in Poland. I am your host, Benjamin Lee. On the 100th anniversary of Poland's independence, the Polish President Andrzej Duda continued his tour in Chicago by meeting with the representatives of the Polish community currently residing in the United States and expressing his affection for the biggest Polish community outside of Poland.
The Polish presidential couple had an event at the Millennium Park expressing their gratitude towards the Polish-American community of Chicago for maintaining the ties between the two countries. The president appealed to the Polish-American citizens to be together to create a force supporting Poland and Polishness in the United States. He also asked them to demonstrate the American politicians the great political influence of the Polish diaspora. Poles have lived in Chicago almost from the very beginning of the city's existence. Thank you for keeping Poland in your hearts. The president said, on the 100th anniversary of Poland regaining its independence, I thank you on behalf of 38 million Poles. The presidential couple arrived in the US earlier this week and held a meeting with the mayor of Chicago as well as the governor of Illinois to discuss matters of trade and economics. They later on visited the state's National Guard and the Polish Museum before showing up at the Millennium Park to address the Polish Americans of the city. The president is scheduled to return to Poland later this evening.
Over 150 million liters of sewage reached Gdańsk Bay on the southern coast of the Baltic Sea. A malfunction of local sewage pump station turned ecological catastrophe to political drama. Poland is holding its municipal election in a few months, where the mayor of Gdańsk, Paweł Adamowicz, will likely to be held accountable for this disaster.
Sewage pumping station on Ołowianka Island has been broken for 3 days. As a result, the contamination spread into the Mołtawa River and the Gdańsk Bay. The Pomeranian State Provincial Sanitary Inspection warned against bathing in the Gdańsk Bay. Kacper Płażyński, who runs for the post of Gdańsk president from Law and Justice Party, have a few uncomfortable questions for the President Adamowicz to address. Does the president intend to terminate the contract with the SUR company? This is a question that no one has yet to ask out loud, and it seems that in the light of the catastrophe, it is the most reasonable action under the current contract. The terms with the company ends in 2023. But do we really need another 4 years with this institution, which was questionable from the get-go? And why can't the city that handles the heating of this infrastructure manage the sewage itself? President Paweł Adamowicz made little remarks about the catastrophe outside of the procedural messages of the post-disaster cleanup. The water and sewage network in Gdańsk is outsourced to a company called SOR Neptune Gdańsk. Observers noticed that while Greenpeace activists seem to be silent on the issue, the district prosecutor's office in Gdańsk made clear that the event will mean tremendous negative effects for both the environment and human life.
The protest in the Polish parliament, launched by the parents of the disabled, has yet to meet its resolve. The demonstration started 33 days ago and shows little signs of disperse. So far, the protesters remain unimpressed by the government's attempt to reach a compromise.
Despite the generous offer by the current government to the disabled and their caretakers, the protesters still refuse to accept the reaching hand of the government. The protesters say that they won't abandon their posts until they are promised the 500 zloty social benefit for rehabilitation of the disabled children who come of age.
Pamiętajcie, że zbliżają się wybory samorządowe.
Do everything so the law and justice wouldn't get into parliament next elections. This is a non-political protest.
Even though the protesters claim to have no ties with any political organizations, members of the opposition are often seen amongst their ranks. The protest itself may have started as a non-political one, but is increasingly less so. The protest has become a political one long ago. It needs to end. However, the problem needs to be tackled in its full complexity in the near future. Both sides should sit together, maybe after summer, and resolve the issue.
Dobra wola rządu. Rząd robi co może, przedstawia konkretne propozycje.
The government does what it can. It offered both short-term and long-term solutions, yet all it got in return was no, no, no. At first, a lot of people were rooting for the protesters, as it's only natural to support those who were touched by some kind of tragedy. Now, with all the political noise around it, people still sympathize with the protesters, yet they condemn the opposition, which tries to take advantage of the situation.
dotkniętym nieszczęściem.
Tensions rise as the parliamentary NATO summit takes place in the Polish parliament on May 25th. The government hopes that it will find some common ground with the protesters soon.
Pope Francis has announced today that Konrad Krajewski, of the Polish nationality, will be among the 14 new cardinals that will be appointed on June 29th. Father Krajewski is known, just like Pope Francis, for his resolve on aiding the poor and outcasts of society.
Father Krajewski has previously been seen to personally walk the streets of Rome, handing out sleeping bags to homeless people on frigid nights, and has driven poor people to seaside day trips paid for by the Vatican. The Pole is one of the few new cardinals from Europe to be nominated. Pope Francis is following a policy of increasing the share of cardinals from Latin America, Asia, and Africa in order to make the College of Cardinals less Eurocentric. It's with great joy that I can announce that I will be appointing 14 new cardinals in the ceremony of June 29th. The inclusion of new cardinals to the Diocese of Rome is also a testimony of the unbreakable bond between the vision of the patron church and local churches spread out all across the world.
The Polish-British filmmaker Paweł Pawlikowski won the Best Director Award of the Cannes Film Festival in France for his movie Cold War.
Cold War is a meticulously composed, time-spanning romance that charts the stormy but passionate relationship between musicologist Viktor Tomasz Kot and singer Zula Joanna Kulig. Beginning in the austere years of post-war Poland, the film proceeds to pan all around Europe as the volatile duo begin to realize that although they should never be together, they can never be apart. Set against the background of the Cold War in the 1950s in Poland, Berlin, Yugoslavia and Paris, the film depicts an impossible love story in impossible times. Director dedicated the story to his parents who emigrated to Poland and gave inspiration to characters portrayed in the movie. The achievement in Cannes follows the previous success in Polish cinematography carried out by the Oscar-winning film Aida in 2015.
That's it for today. See you next time on Poland Daily.